Did you guys see what Stefan Waite was saying in the media?
So
I saw some snippets.
I did not. I saw it going around.
Mm-hmm.
I you know what? Can we? I think we should start a petition or something. There's a lot of stuff that happens in French media that does not end up in English media, and I'd really like for that to happen. Like I think it was like the Antoine Roussel stuff.
Yeah.
About Jonathan Toews, and there was something else that happened with Montreal. I don't
It's
remember
just
what it is off the top of my head. It just didn't come to English
yeah.
media. So from now on, let's do that.
I've always wanted to. That's been like a little career dream of mine. Like grand scheme
You,
of things, I'd like
you,
to be.
you're
Yeah,
gonna be
like
the
someone who
middleman,
I'd like to
right?
do that. Yeah,
You'll be the
it's a little
middleman.
thing with me. Yeah, it's a little like dream of mine. So Stefan Waite, for those of you who do not know, Stefan Waite is the former goalie coach of Montreal and, funny enough, the Blackhawks. And I think he was actually there for the Coyote Beach stuff. I could be wrong, but I think he was. Anyway, he was just talking to French media, and he made this joke saying that in the with the staff, we would joke that Jonathan Drouin he had a clause in his contract not to score. I can't stand the crap that Jonathan Drouin gets. So last night against Pittsburgh, Montreal lost, awful game. But I just wanted to shout out that Jonathan Drouin, a great goal, a great assist. He assisted on Jesse Ylonin's first career goal, and he was the one who went and got the puck. So I just wanted to be like, Drouin, shut him up. The guy is bitter about being fired, clearly. I don't blame him, he shouldn't have been fired, but remember, he was the one who also went and leaked that Bergevin told him that, if my job was that Bergevin was saying to Stefan Waite after he was fired that if Carey Price wasn't playing better, that was going to be it for Bergevin. Because the thing with Stefan Waite is, listen, you may not like what you're being told in an exit meeting, but there's a certain level of confidentiality and like respect that goes with it, right? I don't like Mark Bergevin for multiple reasons, but that guy has not well earned, absolutely not after the Mayu stuff, but he has a good reputation in the league, right? So all of a sudden, Stefan Waite, the more he talks, the more he damages his chance of getting another job.
Stefan Waite, it damages his own chance, right? Okay.
Because if you're going to leak a conversation with your boss when you got fired, you're going to talk smack about a player who had to take time away from the team. Not to mention, imagine if you're Carey. Okay, so the two incidents of note, making fun of Jonathan Drouin, okay, and putting more pressure on Carey Price without knowing it last season. Two players who have had to step away from the team for different reasons. Just, obviously, he said one thing, he said the price up before we knew what was up with Carey Price. That was before the playoffs. But I think Stefan Waite needs to step back and realize that he's just not being professional. And I don't want, I just, at this point, I wouldn't hire him.
You know what it seems like? It seems like gossip. Like that's what it seems like
Yes.
to me. Like,
yes.
I don't mean to pick on them, but this is like, there's a lot of gossip that goes on overseas, right? In terms of soccer, just because it's so big that it's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it, that's just like, it's so gossipy, man. Like, why you guys say it? Like, you didn't have to say that. You didn't have to come out. Mark Bergevin is gone. The players did not get you fired. He fired you. I get it. I get you're pissed off at Mark Bergevin, but Mark Bergevin is if it truly was him who fired you, is no longer part of the organization. Even if it wasn't, even if it was like Jeff Molson made the decision that Stefan Waite should be fired, that doesn't mean you do that. Like, it just looks unprofessional.
At the end of the day, you have to remember that for years, Carey Price's regular season performance wasn't good enough.
Right.
You're the goalie coach. It wasn't great for you, dude, unfortunately. And isn't it hilarious? Now, obviously, that playoff, the bubble, Stefan Waite was around and Carey turned it on. But is it not funny? Sean Burke comes in, and then obviously I have my issues with Sean Burke. I don't think he should be a part of the team either with his history. And then they go to the cup final and Carey plays some of the best hockey he's ever played without Stefan Waite. I'm just saying, I just Stefan Waite, I can't stand it. Last thing with Montreal, Jeff Petry came back to the lineup last. As he quickly, Dvorak is now out indefinitely. Josh Anderson, the initial injury we thought was 2 to 4 weeks, is now 8 weeks, referring to like December 2nd, I think was the initial. So he's gone for a while because injuries. It's awful. It's so awful. But the big headline was not just Jeff Petry coming into the lineup, because after the game he said, you watch it, says watching games while he was injured didn't give him any clarity on what's wrong with this team. Quote, you watch it up top and there are times you're scratching your head. We're not making it easy on anyone most of the time. Most of the time the other team. And he also said there's no structure here. Here's the other quote. It's the same thing over and over. We're not playing as a team. We're not playing as a group. It's like you're searching to find where people are. It seems like there's no structure at all. By the way, after last night's game, Dominic Ducharme said the score didn't reflect the game and he thought they played well. I must have watched a different game because they were awful again. And Dom Ducharme also said that he spoke with Petry and apparently they talked to the group and they settled it out. Okay, 2 things I'm going to say on this before I throw it over to you guys.
Okay.
First off, yeah, Jeff, I agree. Second off, a little joke. I'm looking for guys. Caulfield's open on the power play. Can you pass to him more often, please?
Right.
Anyway, even though that's Sherrod's spot now, which is hilarious. That and Petry, I get it, dude. Score a goal, but he's absolutely right. You know what I mean? Like it's everything I've been yelling about for months now.
So there's a couple things. When I saw that tweet from Arpin Basu with the quote, I'm like, it caught me off guard because number one, that when he goes, we're not playing as a team, we're not playing as a group. I think we've had countless discussions over the 200 episodes that we've recorded that's their identity. Playing as a team and playing as a group is their identity. Mm-hmm. So there's that. And number 2, because of that quote, how on earth does Dominic Ducharme have a job? Because if their identity was that and they're not currently living up to it, then either you've lost the room, which means you should be fired, or you tried to change things up and it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not working.
And I think it's both.
They've lost like 8 straight games. Like if you think about it, right? First off, like I don't know if Petry meant to do this, but like I haven't listened to like the STP, for example, but because it came out I think a couple hours ago, so I was looking at the description, see what they talked about, and I just see one of the topics, Jeff Petry calls out the Montreal Canadiens, and I'm like, oh no. I don't know if Jeff Merrick has talked about it, but all of a sudden, and maybe it's because the Oilers game sort of overshadows it because they're in Toronto, but I can imagine that in French media in Quebec right now, Jeff Petry, whether he meant to or not, and listen, I didn't like when people called out Erik Karlsson on the Sharks, and I agree with everything. Petry is saying stuff I've been saying on the show for a while.
Right.
One problem is Jeff Petry has just sort of lit a beacon, and I think I sound like such a craggly old man saying this. I hate that I am, but it sounds so 90s to say, but he's just caused a massive distraction in the room because he's projected this thing of them not being together. But the thing is, it's true.
It's just confirmed for us now from a trusted source.
I don't think that's controversial though, because I was thinking the exact same thing. Because it's Jeff Petry, remember, they don't have Deneau anymore. Price is not, he's with the team, but he's not with the team.
He's recovering.
And you've lost Shea Weber, who's made appearances here or there, but you've lost Shea Weber.
Yep.
So Jeff Petry and Brendan Gallagher are the guys in that room. For a Jeff Petry to come out and say that, it really caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if he should have said that, if I'm being honest. I think you're right.
If it gets Dom fired, then it's like, okay, attaboy Jeff. But like Jeff Petry has to realize, like he has not. I hate ragging on players. You know, I don't like doing it. But Jeff Petry's in the first year of a new contract. He has 0 goals.
Right.
And it goes past this season. He hasn't scored in a long time.
And it's December 15th.
He remember when Will made that joke? He's like, it was about Kotkaniemi. He's like, oh, you might get this point, or here's the season. You have 3 goals in December. What's wrong? Jeff Petry has 2 points, I'm pretty sure. I think it's 2 assists. Like, and again, Petry's a leader, so I think the problem that kind of happens there, and again, I'm not disagreeing with him, and I like players speaking their minds, but it's what now it does to like Jeff Gordon and that is they have to make a change because one of your leaders, the guy that when Shea Weber has been out, has been the guy to step up and lead your defense, has basically said, yeah, we're like playing Minesweeper on the ice right now. It's like, we make this play out when there's a goal against instead of a bomb or something. It is a bit of a cliche. It's a bad situation.
Right.
You do not love to see it.
I don't mean to make it about the Leafs. It's just 2 examples that popped up in my head in similar manner. You go back to look. We watched the Amazon documentary together, or Adam and I did.
I watched it.
No, but Adam and I literally watched it together.
Yes.
Like, literally.
Have you watched Star Wars Clone Wars?
Okay, that's for a different episode.
For when we go back into lockdown. But we saw Austin Matthews say something to the media, and Sheldon Keefe was not a fan of that. So I wonder what went on behind the scenes. You brought up Ducharme. Talking. I wonder what happened there. But the example I was thinking of years ago, when Garrett Sparks was a Maple Leaf, they had a bad game, and he came out and said, we didn't do a good job. And it's like, yeah, first off, like Garrett Sparks should not be saying that. But
yeah,
I just think sometimes when your team is not doing well, it's not necessarily the best time to say that out loud. When the Leafs have a bad game against, let's say, LA, they lose 5-1. Okay, we had a bad game. That's fine. But to say that when you've lost, Adam, how many games did you say they lost in a row?
I think it's up to 7. It's 6 or 7.
I'm just put one second.
Again, they have 6 wins in December.
Exactly. Like they are currently last in the Atlantic. They're 6-21-3.
Their points percentage, I'm pretty sure they're last by points percentage in the league.
Arizona's last.
Still? Okay. Yeah. And not to mention, probably the worst team the Habs have ever iced, but yeah, go on. Yeah,
I just think it's not fair on the players to come out and say that. Like, it's like you're right. You put a beacon on top of this team, and French media and English media are going to swarm you like bees.
It was the most interesting thing about last night's game. It was just awful. It's just like, it's like if you were performing, I'd give Petry more credit. But dude, he was awful again last night.
Adam,
I said he should have been a Norris Trophy guy last year.
Okay,
we haven't even talked about the game. All we've talked about is Jeff Petry saying this.
I mean, you know what's funny about the game is this one power play had they've started using Caulfield, Hoffman, Suzuki, I think Paling and Sherratt on the power play. It looked good, and they were passing it to Cole. And they were getting chances, but it's just everything else sucked.
They're showcasing Ben Sherratt. That's the only reason.
That's what they need to do. 30 minutes a game.
It took Anderson, Dvorak, Gallagher, and everyone for Cole to finally get some looks on the power play, and it worked around him. And Hoffman made this really neat play where he faked it out, faked out a shot and sent it to Cole. And Chance, it was so cool to see, and I'm like, this is what I they had so much zone time, and then the second unit's out there, and you're like, why is Laurent Dauphin playing? Because they're so beat up. But yeah, it's
because they gave up a lot to get him. They have to use him.
No, Dauphin?
Yeah, they gave up a lot to get him.
Who'd they give up?
A first round pick.
No, that's Dvorak.
No.
No, they gave a first round pick.
I know who they gave up for Laurent Dauphin. You're gonna have to think about it.
Laurent Dauphin?
Who did they give up to get him?
It was an AHL trade though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was a first round pick.
Was it? It wasn't Reichel it wasn't Valiev. Was Kulak? Who?
Just think of size.
We've talked about him so much.
McCarron?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, from Nashville.
That was the. I thought he was another because they've made a few AHL trades that have been okay. Anyway,
so essentially, it was a first round pick.
Okay, I was kind of like, does he think Dvorak was okay? On that note, and then what's the rest of the game? Yeah, they sucked and they couldn't. Like there was they can't. The second unit was quarterbacked by Petry, right? And you're just like, okay, is he gonna break it out? Is he gonna start the zone next? And it goes the other way. Is he gonna do a drop pass here? And there it is. Oh, and then here come the Penguins the other way, and you're like, okay, cool. Like I was laughing at it. It's just like every time I watch, I'm like, and they just released Free for All for Halo Infinite. I could be playing that right now. I need to win 3 more ranked arena matches for my weekly challenge. I could be doing that.
Yes,
out.
I believe.
I could start working on my legendary campaign walkthrough.